Hey, you. Yes, you. It's time to shake yourself and get out of bed. I am Ebony S. Bailey, and I am so excited you joined me today. Are you ready? Because I sure am. It's time for another episode of She Woke Up Dreaming. I am so excited about this series that is getting ready to come on. I'm going to have some amazing women who are walking in their passion, they're blazing their trails, and they are doing something that they dreamt about at one time, and now they're getting to see it in the natural. So today I have my friend, I call her my voice twin. Now, I don't sing like this woman, but
we are voice twins.
She got me comfortable with my voice, and then opened up other areas. So I want to introduce everyone to Brittany D. Spivey. Let's give her a round of applause. Hey, girl.
Thank you. Hey, girl.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited. I'm excited about this.
Me too. We have been trying to do something together for a long time.
Like years, right?
And stuff keeps happening every time.
But we made it this time.
This time we made it happen. It happened. This was probably supposed to be the first time then. Like this was probably supposed to be when we started. But for those who do not know who Brittany D. Spivey is, can you let them know what it is that you do?
Yes. So I am a mom first. So I do that first. Gotta throw that in. But I am also a professional vocal coach. I am a backing vocalist. I recently received my certification as an herbalist. I have vocal tea and vocal care products. I pretty much work with singers and speakers and, just kind of training people up and pushing them in the right direction. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a coach. I also do writing coaching as well, which is where all of this was birthed from. So am I leaving anything out? You know how I am.
She doesn't like to talk about herself. So if she leaves something out, trust me, I'll fill it in. And if I don't remember now, it's going to be in the bio.
Yes, put it in the bio. Because you know how I do. You know me.
She's very, she's silly, y'all. I don't know if she's going to show that side today, but she's silly. But she is an amazing person. She's super humble. And she is definitely not afraid to teach people how to be their best selves. So today, I wanted us just to talk about it. Like she said, this was birthed out of a writing session. I did a creative writing session with Brittany, and it was supposed to be a song. Like this was supposed to be a session. It was a writing session for me to develop a song, and it turned into something so much more. Like it came out, and I've done a calendar with inspirational quotes per month. I turned it into a journal, and now it's turned into a whole web series. So thank you so much for helping develop this and showing me that I can do anything, Like I said, you made me comfortable with my voice. Up until I met Brittany, I had never, ever in my life heard a woman that had the range that she did. Now she can sing all parts, but she is the dopest female tenor I have ever in my life encountered. Okay. So, I'm a tenor, and I was always singing alto, but I'm more comfortable in the tenor range. That's where my sweet spot is. And she showed me how to embrace my own sound because I didn't sound like anybody else. And she showed me that it was okay. She was like, I don't sound like anybody else either, but we're going to work our gift. And so she taught me how to do that. And so I want to say thank you for that too, because not only did you help me with the vocal side, it started to boost confidence in other areas where I could step out and do things that I was so timid to do. I was too timid to do before. And so that's another thing that she offers. Like she doesn't just teach singers. Like she says, she coaches speakers. It's stuff when you get out there and you see all those people.
Right.
Sometimes the fear will grip you, nervousness and all that stuff. And she can give you tools and techniques to get beyond that and actually execute, and you walk away, even if you're trembling on the inside, nobody else will know it.
Right. And, you know, the reason why I can do that is because, well, you know, because I'm from a musical family. So my brother and my sister sing. And so I think the first time I was in a professional recording studio, I was like 5 or 6. And so we had a group. It was 4 of us. So our group was called All for Jesus. And we were a gospel group.
Y'all so same.
We had custom outfits, and we would go and sing. We would, you know, open up for like legit gospel artists. So we had a lot of opportunities, but, you know, I was the tenor of the group. My brother, who was older than me, his voice hadn't changed yet. So he was a soprano of the group. And I was the tenor of the group. But, you know, I had so many insecurities about my voice. Just so many insecurities. Even from then, like, you know, I'm the girl of the group, and, you know, I'm singing tenor, and then just growing up, you know, so I know how it feels when you have something that's different and you really don't see where it fits in the world, you know what I mean? So I try to implement, you know, for my sessions with my clients and my friends, I try to implement just freedom. Like, how can we figure out our lane, and not only figure out our lane, but be comfortable with our lane looking different from the next person's lane, you know? So I know that all too well.
That's true. You got to know how to be comfortable in your own skin, and you have to develop that. Like, I know even sitting down with you in a session, you don't just jump straight in and start singing. No, it's background stuff. Like, she teaches you how to take care of your gift, how to take care of this, what to eat, what to drink. Don't do these things. Like, she tells you steps, and it's not like she is just trying to get your money. No, she gives you tailor-made vocal regimens to do. Like, when I say she is the real deal, she is. She is. So understand, I know that with everything that you do now, you have to have had a story. You know, you have to have had a story. You have to have had a journey to be free in who you are today. And so I want to ask you my very first question of tonight, or this morning, excuse me.
That's right.
I want to ask you, if you had one word to summarize your journey up until this point, what would that be and why?
I would say unpredictable. Yeah, unpredictable. I think that, like, because I've had a lot that I've experienced in my life, a lot. So, you know, I'm not sure all what we will touch on because it's a lot, but, you know, unpredictable. Just not really knowing what will happen next, but finding like liberation in that. You know what I mean? Just kind of going along with the journey, but unpredictable would be the word that I would say would best describe my story.
So you say unpredictable, meaning not sure what will happen in life, or what you will actually experience and encounter, but being comfortable in your journey.
Yeah, because, you know, even back to, you know, how I was telling you that I, you know, come from a musical family, I still never saw myself doing the things that I'm doing now, if that makes sense. Like, you know, a lot of people we all have plans for our lives, you know, with writing down the plans, and which are all great. But sometimes, and you know me, Ebony, you know how I am. I will be a backseat person in a quick minute. I will stand in the background, you know, try to be hidden. But for me, it's like I found myself in places where I was not able to just take the back seat anymore, which was uncomfortable for me. So unpredictable for me would be, you know, I thought that I would be doing a certain thing right now with my life, and it's like taking a completely different direction, just on a completely new wave. But I mean, at the same time, it's exciting, you know. I really don't know what's gonna happen next, and I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I'm cool with just whatever God wants to, whatever room He wants to put me in next. I'm cool with it.
So what got you to being comfortable with that, though?
Because
you don't just wake up and say, I don't know what's gonna happen today, and be all right, especially when it's not all good, because I'm sure the unpredictability was not everything. Not everything was roses and peaches and grand. You know, there was some unpredictability that you're like, whoa, I did not see that coming. It almost knocked me off my feet, or it did knock me off my feet.
Yeah. And can I be 100% honest?
Go for it.
Sometimes I am still not comfortable with it. If I can be real, there are a lot of things that I do where I still have, you know, this feeling where I'm not comfortable. And sometimes I have to challenge myself to, you know, encourage myself, like, you know what, Brittany, they called you because you can do this. You know, you're dope enough to do this. You know what I mean? You're in this space for a reason. So there are things that I'm presented with where I still feel uncomfortable, you know, but you have to have, like, when those feelings come up, you have to have something to combat that, you know what I mean? So that way it doesn't stay there. Like, it's okay to feel uncomfortable or to feel uncertain or to feel fear, but it's never okay to just sit in it. So I think for me, you know, I have those feelings all the time. If I can be honest, I have those feelings all the time. Of course, there are certain things that I am completely comfortable with because just over time, and the more that you do it, you know, just doing things, even when you're afraid and when you're unsure, you know what I mean? But, you know, there's still things that I may not be 100% all the way comfortable with. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I don't deserve to be there.
So you're learning how to be comfortable in all the rooms that God allows you to enter.
Absolutely.
No matter if you feel like you're the smallest person in the room, you're in that room for a reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's true. Like, you know, I think for my journey and just for my life story, I have found myself in places and rooms and in connections and conversations and, you know, just connected with people that I didn't really feel worthy to be connected to, you know, but I think that's the beauty of it, you know. No one wants to stay the same and not grow and develop. So all of these things are causing me to grow and develop as a person.
And you're able to help those that come to you with the same issues that you currently, like you say, I still deal with that sometimes, but you're still able to help somebody say, no, listen, I know this works because this is something that I had to do. This is something that I currently do. So when I get nervous, these are the steps that I take so that I can be comfortable and still execute. Because if I'm asked to do it and it's a God-given gift, I know that I can. He won't put me on a platform and me not be able to deliver. So now I got to get out of my own way.
And you know what? You know, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Something that also makes me nervous that I've had to kind of just settle within myself is, you know, when I make certain plans or put down certain affirmations or set certain goals, now where I am in my life, when it happens, I'm like, oh crap, like, God, is that you? You know what I mean? So it's like, and sometimes that's scary, you know, because sometimes we don't all the way believe that everything is going to work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I've been in seasons, and I can just tell you just a few things, but I've been in seasons where it's like, oh my God, like this is something that I really wanted to happen. And it happened. And I didn't have to go looking for it. They came looking for me. You know what I mean? So that's how you know it's something that's supposed to happen for you.
It's like a sweatless season.
Yeah.
It's like a sweatless season, like something that God said, you already did the work. He can trust you because you put the work in. And now he knows that when he lets you go forth, that you'll go forth and you will do all that because you've already invested in yourself and you've planned. So one question that I do have for you is, when did you wake up? So, you know, this whole thing is she woke up dreaming. And so when we talk about waking up, no, first let's talk about dreaming. When you dream, you can be anything. I could be a president. I could be, and I don't want to be the president, but I could be the president. I could be an airplane pilot. Like I can be anything. But then you wake up and you're like, I don't have the resources. I don't know. I don't have connections. I don't know. You got all these reasons why you can't. But in your dream, you're limitless. And so when we wake up, for whatever reason, we've boxed ourselves in and we have boundaries. And so the thing that I love that you're doing is you're dreaming awake, which is what I'm thinking of daydreaming. Like the things that I said that I wanted to do, they won't just be a spoken word. No, I'm going to actually do the work to make sure it happens. And so what caused you to wake up and start walking in your purpose? Like, was it a person? Was it a situation? Was it a book? Like, what caused you to wake up and start walking in your purpose?
For me, I would say, and I'll tell you how everything kind of unfolded for me, just off of the first thing that comes to mind. But I realized one day, and this is just, it happened straight like that. I realized one day, I, want my life to move in a certain direction. I want certain things to happen, but I have no accountability for myself. None. That was scary for me, Ebony. The fact that I kid you not, like I started praying more and just meditating more and just, figuring out where I am and where I want to be and who I am.
Yeah.
And it was like one day, like just a blindfold was taken off of my eyes. And, I saw, okay, good things are happening. I'm getting opportunities and calls. I'm doing things that I haven't quite done, but I'm still like not awake within, you know what I mean? And so for me, literally, I had to do the work. I had to, take time with God, take time with myself, take time with my passions. And I kid you not, if I can explain it this way, it was almost like I was sitting in my room and I saw myself for who I really was. And it was not pretty at all. It was not pretty. I could stand on the stage and sing or lead worship or, teach these amazing classes.
Wow.
But I still was completely empty and I was closed off to my fullest potential. So for me, I kid you not, I cried and I said, what am I doing? What have I been doing? I have not been accountable. I have just been out here making movements. I've been going through the motions, but that's not like, that's an empty shell, and I cried for days. I cried and I journaled and I said, I'm not accountable for myself and for my life. I was under the impression that as a believer, that God was going to do it all for
me. No, ma'am.
That he was just going to do, I'm just going to pray about it. I'm just going to believe and pray. But I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't feeding my spirit. I wasn't feeding my mind. I wasn't practicing and preparing, even practical things like, saving money, and creating realistic goals. So I literally, I just cried when it happened because it was like, I saw myself for who I was. I saw everything that I needed to change. I saw every corner, the ins and out of who Brittany Spivey really is. And it was not who I wanted to be. Now, when people looked at me, they saw whatever they saw. They saw a nice representation, but the inner me was all the way messed up. I had no accountability. So for me, understanding that I have to be accountable, I have to do my part. That was a huge wake-up call for me. And to be honest, I'm still to this day, like, writing down different things that I can change about myself, making personal investments in myself and just, little things. It's the little things that make up the bigger picture. And so definitely a lack of accountability was a huge wake-up call for me. And I had to refocus on my dreams. It wasn't pretty when it happened, though, I'll tell you.
So he allows us to see ourselves, not to make us feel bad, but to provoke us to move.
Absolutely.
To provoke us to change. Sometimes, it's almost like you are somewhere and you stay longer than you're supposed to. And then he has to do different things to make you move so that you can get out of your own way. And so your potential is limitless, but the fact that you don't see who you are and you don't want to see who you are makes everything not available to you. Like, I can't bless you with the next thing if you can't be accountable with what I've already given you. And so I love the fact that you said you noticed that you were not accountable. It wasn't even that somebody else had to point it out and tell you. You saw yourself. You looked in the mirror and you saw who you were. And that's the scariest thing to do, for you to ask God to show you. Girl.
So scary. When I say I cried about it, it was a wake-up call. And I think for me, the type of person that I am, I think it took something like that. Like, I don't think that my wake-up call could have come from, a prophecy or a motivational post or whatever. Like, for me, it takes a little more. It takes something just so I know that it's direct. So for me to see myself, the craziest thing. And I'm still working and making those changes. And my goal right now is, I don't want to be busy outwardly, but not productive on the inside, So that's where I am right now.
There's a lot of fake busy people.
You're right about that.
They're so busy, and then nothing's been produced from their busy work. And so that's one of the things that even in this season for me, I've had to step down from a lot of different things that were just occupying my time. And some of the things were the things that I absolutely loved. But God said, no, for this season, I need you to focus on some other things. I need you to focus on foundational stuff. And then you can build on that. But until you get the other things in order, the rest of that, I can help other people see me, but you're not even reaping the benefit, because what are you pulling from? And a lot of times, even when you start making decisions, they're not popular with everyone else. They may not agree with what you decide to do. But when you start asking God to do things in your life and he does it, you can't complain about it, right? If he says, stop this, do this, fix this area of your life, and then I can bless you, then you do it. And so accountability is something that a lot of people struggle with, especially when you do things solo. Like, if you don't have a business partner or a person that's beside you, then some people have to figure out how to push themselves forward when they are in that season of that downward season where they don't really know what to do, or they're tired. You got to learn how to push past being tired. And it's something to know that you can look at yourself, receive criticism, and then receive criticism from yourself, and then be provoked into action. But that's a good thing. It's something about knowing who you are. And then after you know who you are, your fears, your weaknesses, your strengths. And then you can better plan, and then you won't be receiving crazy information from people, and you respond and react different ways. But now you know who you are, so you say, oh, I ain't even got to worry about that. You don't even have to understand who I am fully. I know who I am.
Exactly.
So if you had to give our viewers, the people that are on this, viewing this right now, if you had to give them 2 practical tips about, have you heard of sleep paralysis?
I have.
Okay. So, everything got to go with this whole dreaming concept. So I said, if we had to give these viewers 2 practical tips that helped you overcome sleep paralysis, which essentially is fear, it's fear. It paralyzes you. You can't move. And it allowed you to begin to dream awake. What would you say that you had to do? 2 tips. So you've already told us that you had to be accountable, but now give us 2 practical tips that they can start implementing today to overcome fear and sleep paralysis.
Get up and don't look back.
Wow.
Get up and don't look back. Whatever you do. And, a lot of times getting up is we view that as easier said than done, but we're going back to just being practical and being accountable. Getting up sometimes is just a decision. It's just a decision. As hard of a decision as it is, it still is our decision to get up. No matter what's knocked you down, get up and do what you have to do. And don't look back. Don't go back towards the things and the habits and the routines that kept you asleep. Because if you do, you'll end up right back in that sleep cycle, right back in dealing with sleep paralysis and stuck. Wow. But I definitely would say get up. And no matter what the getting up is from, it could be, family issues or not pursuing the things that you need to pursue out of fear. Just get up and decide that you're going to do it. And don't look back. Don't question yourself. Don't look back and say, well, maybe I made the wrong decision. Let me just, none of that. Just go all the way. Go all the way.
You said don't look back. Are there any things that you had to force yourself? Because, some things you want to be like, wait, you do want to check behind you. Absolutely. Like, were there some things that you had to force yourself to just say, no, I will not return back to that. It is not good for me. It is not healthy. It is not healthy for my future. It's not healthy for my family. You have a beautiful daughter. You have an independent daughter that you are teaching how to be, how to grow and evolve into her own gifts and to be her own person. Like, you're teaching her that. And so to have a person that is watching your every move, I'm sure that also makes you want to be accountable. Absolutely. And to teach her the things that you learn so she doesn't have to go through those things.
Right now, as far as not looking back, I am actively every single day breaking my own habits every day. When I say not to look back, we have memory for a reason so that we can reflect, but don't look back. Reflect as, a reference so you can share where you've been. You can make an outline to help other people, but don't go back into the same thing. The way that you don't go back, at least for me, has been to actively break my habits. So simple things like, even if, work for me doesn't start until 11, I'm up at 5:30. I'm up journaling. I'm up doing affirmations.
Discipline.
I'm up. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm doing my I am.
Hey.
Doing my I am affirmations, but break habits. Figure out, and this goes back to accountability. Figure out, where am I? Where do I want to be? And what does it take? Where's that middle ground to get there? Write everything out. Write the, if you have habits and just thoughts and mindsets that are not, that won't push you where you need to be, write all of that out and actively break it every single day. The small things that, for me, I thought were negative habits, now it's like, I reflect. I don't go back to it, but I reflect like, dang, I can't believe I was getting up and wasting my day like that.
Yeah.
It's real. It's real. It's like, I want to be productive, and it takes us to do that. Even thinking of, just to kind of throw this in there, but even sometimes, when we think about the things that we want God to do for us or to help us with, just to use, like, I want to buy a house or something one day. Okay. Well, the thing is, we have to be practical and do what we need to do. God ain't going to, you know what I'm saying? Or I want to be healthy. I want to get rid of the ailments in my body, but are we eating right? Are we breaking our eating habits? Have we created an exercise habit, a routine, or I want to be more positive. I want to stop talking down to myself. Are you doing affirmations every day? You got to break the habits. And a lot of these cycles and habits, I know from my life and from my family and my experience, some of them were so deep rooted into my bloodline that it was just passed on to me to think a certain way. So I have to break these things every single day. When I don't feel like it, I get up and I say, listen, this is where I want to be. I'm going to break these habits so I don't have to go back to where I was.
So since you said in the beginning that accountability was something, now do you struggle with that side of it? Or is there someone that you say, listen, I said I need to do X, Y, Z. Hold me to it. Like, do you have an accountability partner, or is it something that is just so deep instilled inside of you that you don't need anybody to help you with that? you know, okay, I got to get up, I got to do this, and I'm going to do it, you know, or do you have an accountability partner?
I would love an accountability partner. I am open. I am open to all the help that I can get. I would love it, Ebony. You could be my accountability partner. But I will say this, the things that I'm actively changing about myself, and the things that I'm actively pursuing, when I think back or reflect on, you know, those things prior, I could never see myself doing the things that I'm doing now.
Wow.
And that doesn't mean, I'm not talking about the opportunities or, you know, the singing or, you know, tour or whatever. I mean, like the inward things. I never saw myself being happy and comfortable just doing these new routines. You know what I mean? So that's something major that's changed for me. But accountability is definitely a huge one. I would love an accountability partner, like I said. Yeah. But I think that for some of us, when you get to the place where you are tired of things being the way they are, it's like, look, I'm going to do this with or without an accountability partner. God will be my accountability partner or whatever, you know, like I'm just going to do this no matter what. So I think that's where I'm at, to where I didn't necessarily have to pull on anybody else because I wanted it so badly.
Bad. Yeah. So that hunger.
Yeah.
That hunger, it's like when you're thirsty, nothing else but water satisfies you when you're really, really thirsty. And so you were looking for something, and I guess whatever it was, you found it, and you're like, okay, I can't let that go because I like how that feels. I like what it does for me, and it brings me to a happy place. You talked a lot about affirmations. I love affirmations. I wrote a whole 21-day devotional about affirmations because I am statements are so powerful. They're so powerful, and they frame your day. You know, they change your mindset because you're telling yourself, I am this. It's not I want to be. No, that's who I am. And so that also comes with knowing who you are. And so if you had to name 2 things, no, I think you can give me more than 2, but 3, let's go with 3. If you had to say 3 things that you had to wake up from, like anything, 3 things that you had to wake up from. We talked about fear. We talked about other things. You hinted towards some family issues, family stuff that you dealt with younger. You know, it's different things that we've experienced, but what were the 3 things that to you were the biggest things that you had to wake up from?
Self-doubt would be at the top of my list. I doubted myself for so long, and I was conditioned to doubt myself. Wow. And that's just it. I was conditioned by the things that were happening around me, from, you know, growing up in a single parent household, you know, to becoming homeless as a child, and just, you know, for what we were shown, the sky wasn't the limit. It just wasn't, you know, even though we were out singing and doing all these things and performing, it was like we still went home to a shelter. You know what I mean? So I was conditioned to think that was just it, you know. So I definitely self-doubt. I had to doubt. I'll say doubt. I had to wake up from that. I'll say fear again, just because I was just naturally a fearful, shy, timid person. And I do think that stems from how I was, you know, the conditions and the situations that I was placed in, and that my family were placed in. You know, my mom, she did everything she could for her children, but she just did not have the support from our father, who walked out, you know. And so it put us in some really tough situations. Him walking out taught me that I wasn't valuable. It made me believe I wasn't valuable. It made me believe that I didn't deserve for things to stick in my life, you know. So even when we talk about creating new habits, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm really undoing a lot of things right now. So we said self-doubt, fear.
Don't do that, because you about made me
real as it gets, child.
But for you to say you had to undo the things that were so deeply rooted, people don't want to uncover those things, you know, and so that makes it worse, because you just keep piling stuff on top of each other, and all of a sudden you lash out, people don't understand where it came from, but it's those deep rooted issues that you don't want to deal with. And so the fact that you're saying, I have to go back and I have to confront those areas so that I can be a better person for myself and for my daughter, and to be present today. Because how many times have you been in a room, and I know I do this, I'll be in a room full of people, but my mind is somewhere else. You know, I'm not present. I'm not here. I'm conditioned. I'm thinking about all these other things, and I can't enjoy the moment, you know? And so it's truth. Like, you dealt with a lot of stuff. I know you shared a lot of your story with me. And sometimes when we sit and talk and then you tell me more, I'm like, wow, because you smile. And I know that behind the smile, I know behind the makeup, the voice, I knew it was something about you when you sung, because I felt it.
Yeah.
It's different when people sing and they just have, they not have a nice voice.
Yeah.
But the experience that comes with your sound that nobody else has, tells me that there's so much more than what you shared, and you're giving it out at times so people can digest it piece by piece. But your story, oh my gosh, is amazing. And I say amazing because I've seen you in those tight situations. I mean, we tried to figure out some stuff together, you know.
You have been a part of my story. I think we've just kind of watched each other blossom and develop. Like, yeah, it's real. And while you were talking, the third thing came to mind for me, and that was something I had to wake up from and let go of, was unforgiveness. And there's a quote that I heard someone say years ago. I can't remember who said it, but they said, just because it happened to you does not mean it was your fault, but the residue is now your responsibility. And so for me, I think about, the situations with, our dad leaving, and I'll stay there. I'll use that as an example. So for years, I hated my father. I hated him because all I knew was he left one day for his girlfriend, and he didn't want to be a husband and a father anymore, and that was just it. And I said I would never forgive him. I just had so much bitterness and hate in my heart. And then when I got older and started going into relationships, I attracted bitterness and hate. I attracted the same type of vision of him that I saw. I had to forgive him. I am 30 years old, and let me tell you, my dad calls me almost every day. He was not a part of my childhood. He calls me just about every day. We have told each other that we love each other for... I don't even remember hearing my father say, I love you, because he wasn't around. But I would never get to feel that had I not forgiven him. You know what I mean? So it's like, now we have that relationship. My daughter, she knows that's her grandfather. She's getting used to, like, oh, I have a grandpa. You know what I mean? Like, things are changing, but I had to let go of that. It doesn't matter what he did or didn't do. I don't know what he was dealing with at the time.
Yeah.
I don't. So much that people deal with, mental health issues, just depression, just stress, being overwhelmed. I don't know. But what I do know is I took on that responsibility of trying to mend and build a relationship with him. Everything that happened completely washed away. I do not hold it against him at all. And I'm at the point at 30 years old where I'm building a relationship with my father. So unforgiveness is something that I had to wake up from.
Wow.
It held me back.
Unforgiveness it leads to other areas too, with rage, with hurt. It does hit your self-worth, especially if it's somebody that you felt should have been there.
Yeah.
It's somebody that was supposed to be my protector, has now walked out. How does that make me feel? Was I not worthy? Was I not enough for him to stay? Or did he not care enough to stay? And then I have to now, as I'm older, say, maybe that was God's protection. Because maybe him leaving was the best thing for me in that time. And then when I was able to handle it, he allowed him back in my space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's something that we learn. Like sometimes we want to remove ourselves so quickly from situations. We want to be saved, but it's things that we have to develop during those processes that we wouldn't have found out any other way. So taking the good with the bad and understanding it's making you who you are today is so necessary. It don't feel good all the time. It doesn't, but it's necessary. It's so necessary. Yeah. So I thank you. You said your things was fear, doubt, and unforgiveness.
Unforgiveness, fear, and doubt. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And those have been heavy, and not just, you know, and I'm thinking about the unforgiveness too, but just forgiving myself was a big one. But those are definitely the three that I would choose.
You would choose those. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you done laid some heavy stuff, which is good. It's good. No, because sometimes people think when the person is all put together, they think it's nothing, you know, they aspire to be that person. Do you really want to walk in my shoes? Do you really want to experience what I've experienced so that I could produce what I produce?
That's real.
So to hear, and I'm telling y'all might have heard half
a fraction.
It's like this much. You heard this much.
They heard a hair. We need a whole summer session to get this out because it's a lot.
You survived so much, and you've done it with grace. You've done it with elegance, and you have not let it stop you. It may have halted you at times so you could gather yourself, but you said, okay, this didn't work. All right, now I got to figure this out. I'm going to do this differently. And so that's an inspiration. You didn't allow being a single mom to stop you. No, I'm still going to pursue my dreams. She hasn't told you, she's been on all kinds of platforms. Like she ain't gonna talk about herself, but she is a background vocalist. She could hold her own, but she rather, like she said, stay in the background. But she's been on platforms singing with some of the best people. Okay. She's been in different continents. Like she don't just sing here in Raleigh. No, she's all over the place. Sometimes, you know, that's why even with her business, she can do virtual coaching because she might be in Africa singing.
Real. That's real though.
She might be in Nigeria singing, you know, because she travels. Her gift is making room for her wherever she goes. And so if you have a gift and you've activated it and it's your time, you might as well get ready. Yeah. Get ready. And so I want you to, this is like my favorite part of what we're going to be doing with the next viewer, the next people that are coming on. I have this thing called the bathroom mirror exercise. Okay. So I want you to look into this camera as if it is you looking at yourself in the mirror. And I want you to talk to us as if you're about to walk out on the biggest stage that you have ever walked out on. It's game day. You're about to play the biggest game you have ever played before. And there is nobody there to cheer you on but yourself. I want you to look into this camera and encourage yourself as you encourage us. Yeah. And we take that into our day to day, because whatever is said, it's gonna light a fire under us, and we're gonna be ready for the day because it's game time.
The first thing that comes to mind is you can do this. This is something that I look at myself and say in the mirror every single morning. You can do this. You can do whatever it is that you desire to do in your life. Nothing can stop you. You are not lacking anything. You have every single thing that you need, every single piece of the puzzle that you need to make the bigger picture. You already have. Not only that, but your life is moving in the right direction. And I know it feels like it's not. I know it feels like sometimes you're thrown to the left or to the right or backwards, but it is on time. Your life is moving in the right direction. Good things will happen to you. Connections will come for you. Peace of mind will come for you. Everything that you desire will happen if you believe it. I believe in you. You have to believe in you. Yeah. Every single thing, and I cannot say it enough, everything that you desire to happen is going to happen in your life. You are not inadequate. Like I said, you are not lacking anything. You are complete. You are full. You are the total package. You have to get up. You have to, if you have to crawl, do it. If you have to walk, do it. Run, do it scared. But the world is waiting on you to do what you are assigned to do. You can do this. I believe in you. Life is waiting for you. Promise is waiting for you. Destiny is waiting for you. Today is the first day of the best days of your life. Absolutely. I absolutely believe it.
Yes, it is you said it. Today is the first day. So that starts with a choice.
Yes.
That starts with you choosing to believe that you can do all things, that you are fearfully and you are wonderfully made, that there is nobody else that can do what you do, that your fingerprint is identical and it is unique to you. And so what the imprint that you're supposed to make on the world today, I challenge you, I double dog dare you to go out and do it. There is nobody that can compare to you. The greater one lives on the inside of you. So if he lives on the inside of you, you can do all things through his strength. And so if just like Brittany encouraged you, and I am trying to encourage you as well, you have to take your own initiative to look at yourself in the mirror and know that you can do anything, that you are more than enough, that there are no limitations. The only limitations you have are the ones that you put on yourself. And so just like the story that you heard today about Brittany and her overcoming and her enduring and still pressing to be the best version of herself, know that you can do that too. Know that there is nothing that you can't come back from. You can't bounce back from. She says she has been homeless. She says that she has been ridiculed. She says that she has been told different things, but guess what? She's still doing what she does. She's still making an imprint. She's still blazing her trail. She's still creating products that other people have not done. She is being unique. So just like she's doing that, you can do the same thing. We believe in you.
We do believe in
you.
We
want you to wake up. We want you to wake up. It's time for you to rise to the occasion. And through this series, through hearing all the different stories that you'll hear from the different women that are blazing trails, different women who are in their lane and fine and comfortable in their space, not trying to cross paths to somebody else's, but they know who they are and they're walking in their purpose and they know that they haven't arrived yet, that there's still more journey to go. But they are comfortable being who they are, and they have woke up to the desires and the dreams that that God has placed in their heart, because the scripture tells us that he gives us the desires of our heart. And I just believe that that means he gives us those things to desire. So the dreams that you have, they're not yours. They came from God. Now it's time for you to agree with him and walk it out. So Brittany, do you have anything else to say? Because I mean, like I'm hyped right now.
I have one more thing. The last thing that I can say, just to piggyback off of what you said, is somebody is depending on you.
Yes.
Can't stay down. Somebody's depending on you. And when you look at your purpose that way, like it's really not about me. It's really not about, do I feel that I'm good enough to do this? Or do I feel that, X, Y, Z will work out? But if you think of a young girl or a young boy or a family who needs exactly what you have, you cannot give up. You have to push and go all the way.
We can't be selfish with our purpose.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We can't be. Like, imagine if this came literally out of a session I had with Brittany. So imagine if I would have said, Brittany, can we do this songwriting session? And she'd have been like, no, girl, I ain't got time.
Right.
I don't know if this would have happened this way.
That's real.
Everything connects. And so don't be the link that is causing delay in someone else's life. Don't be the delay in somebody else's life. Now, trust and believe that if God wants to get something to somebody, he's going to get it. So if he originally wanted to use you to get it to them, he'll wait a little bit. But if you take too long, he's going to find another willing vessel to do it. But don't allow God to have to go with option B because you won't submit. you won't submit.
Because your first choice.
Yes.
With whatever you're called to do, your first choice, and you have to believe that.
Yes. Yes. So I thank you so much. I'm so glad that you didn't make me cry. There were times that I teared up and I just sat back a little bit, because I was like, no, we're not going to have that. They got to hear what she has to say. We ain't got time to cry today. We can cry later.
We're not gonna cry. But we have to do a part 2. We have to do a part 2.
Yes. And we should do a part 2 in person. You know, this whole pandemic thing, it makes everything.
You know, we're going to be crying and hugging and snotting now in person. So I don't know if they're ready for that, but I'm down.
Hey, but you know what? If it takes us to do that, to push them into purpose, hey, I'm all in.
I'm so thankful. And thank you for this platform, because this is really, I mean, it's helpful for me, you know, because it just talking it out shows me like how much I'm growing, you know, so I appreciate you for even having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you. I tell you sometimes, I text you sometimes, and you just be like, ah, girl. But you know, like, you really have made such an impact on my life. Like,
you gonna make me
cry. Such an impact. And just the little bit of a story that you shared with them, understand that much can motivate them. But if they know, they need to learn how to find you. So I want you to tell them, how can they find you? Give them your social media, website, whatever it is. Just let them know how to find you.
So my Instagram, you can find me there at Brittany, the letter D, Spivey. Also, you can follow my business on Facebook at facebook.com/SpiveyVocal. And also on Instagram, my business has an Instagram page, and that is at SpiveyVocal. But I look forward to all of you reaching out and connecting with y'all.
Yes, I will put all her information in the bio, the links and everything. This is somebody you want to know. This is somebody you want to have in your corner. This is somebody that's not jealous of the gift that's on the inside of you, but she's going to help push the gift out even further. She's going to help you see that there are even things that you didn't even know were there. And so those are the type of people that you want in your corner. They're not for selfish gain, but they definitely want to push people past their point of comfortability so that they can step into destiny. And she is definitely a person that you need in your corner. So I want to say thank you so much again. Round of applause.
Thank you. This was great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I want to say, everybody have an awesome day. If you need to check this back on the replay, because she dropped some nuggets, come back, listen to them so that you can implement them, because they will help you become great. And once you become great, you'll become extraordinary. And once you become extraordinary, you can continue to teach other people and bring them along the journey with you. So all of you have a great day. Thank you again, Brittany. And everyone, stay awake. Continue to daydream. Remember, whatever you dream at night, you can do in the natural. Let's make our dreams manifest starting today. Have a great day, guys.
Let's go.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of She Woke Up Dreaming. For more content, visit EbonySBailey.com or subscribe today on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcast, or Google Play.